Hey friends, and welcome back to the channel. Today we are going through 10 first home buyer tips that I wish I knew earlier. The first tip is that you actually don't need a 20% deposit to buy your first home. You could get a 10% deposit or even a 5% deposit. One of the downsides of having less than a 20% deposit is that you may need to pay for lender's mortgage insurance. However, with the first home guarantee, you can have as little as a 5% deposit without paying for lender's mortgage insurance. Keep in mind that you do need to apply for this scheme from the government, and there are some price caps that apply. And if you would like to learn more about any other first home buyer initiatives that you can apply for, you can download my free first home buyer ebook down in the description below. The second tip is to find the best place to park your money. When I bought my first home back in 2019, the way that we were saving for our property deposit was actually through a robo-advisor, which essentially invested our money in a range of different ETFs. It probably wasn't the best idea because we were investing in growth investments. They generally need a time frame of over 5 years or more because, as we know, the stock market goes through highs and lows. Thankfully, we got lucky and we didn't lose money on our investments, even though we were only investing for around 3 to 5 years or so. Something that I also didn't know about at the time is that there's a government initiative called the First Home Buyer Super Saver Scheme. The way that you can use this scheme is basically to ask your employer to salary sacrifice some extra money out of your pay and put it into your super fund, which allows first home buyers to make extra contributions to their superannuation and withdraw these extra contributions once they're ready to buy their first home. The benefits of using the First Home Buyer Super Saver Scheme is you can save on tax because superannuation is only taxed at around 15%, whereas most of our marginal tax rates are around 32.5%. So let's say, for example, you earn $70,000 per year and you decide to salary sacrifice an extra $7,000 into your superannuation every year as part of the First Home Buyer Super Saver Scheme. This would reduce your take-home pay by $4,530 per year. After 8 years, you would have $49,705 with the First Home Buyer Super Saver Scheme. And if you decided to save that same amount in a bank account, after 8 years, you would have $34,764. And this is because of the tax benefits of the First Home Buyer Super Saver Scheme. As you can see in this table, there is a difference of around $1,196 in the first year because of those tax savings that we mentioned. After 8 years, you would have roughly $14,940 more than if you saved for your deposit in a savings account. If you would like to read their disclaimer and all of the assumptions that they've used in this calculator, you can check it out here. Terms and conditions for this scheme do apply, so it is really important that you do your own research, and if you would like to learn more, you can check out the ATO website. And if you would like more information about any of these other first home buyer initiatives from the government, you can download my free first home buyer ebook below. So the third step is to try and save as much money as you can. Let's say your goal is to save $10,000 in 1 year. Saving $10,000 in 1 year may seem impossible, but something that I found helps is breaking down that big goal into smaller pieces. $10,000 in 1 year is $2,500 quarterly, $833 monthly, $192 weekly, and daily that's $27.40 per day. So if you would like to save $10,000 in 1 year, try to find ways that you can save $27.40 per day. So what are some ways that you can save $27.40 per day? Let's go through it. The first point is meal prepping. I started doing this when I was saving for my first home, and I still do this today. So what I would do is every night when I got home from work, I would make my dinner. But instead of just making one portion for dinner, I would actually make 2 portions so I could eat my dinner that night and then also bring leftovers to work the next day. So this would save me from having to buy lunch every day. This would save me $15 per day, which doesn't seem like a lot of money, but $15 per day multiplied by 365 days per year equals $5,475. I think that these small savings definitely aren't going to make you rich, but they do really help, especially if you are trying to save towards a property deposit. If you're enjoying this video so far, don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Another thing that you can do to save money is to switch to a cheaper phone plan. If you're on an unlimited monthly plan for data, it may be worth actually having a look and seeing what your data usage is every month, and then potentially lower your plan if you don't actually consume that much data every month. This could save you around $30 per month, which adds up to $360 per year. Another way to save is to cancel any unused subscriptions. How many streaming services do you have and actually use regularly? Something that we like doing is only signing up to one streaming subscription per month and then cancelling the other ones which we're not using. So for example, one month we might be using Netflix and then we'll cancel that and then we'll get Disney Plus instead. This could save you $10 per month, which adds up to $120 per year. And finally, my last tip is to try and sell any items that you no longer use. Pablo, my partner, recently sold his drone, which he wasn't really using, and he got $350 from that unused item that was just lying around our home. I also recently sold a phone that I'm no longer using and got $165. Once you start to look around your home, you may start to realize that there are actually things that you're not really using that somebody else could make a lot more use out of. And selling these items can not only free up more space in your home, it can also give your item to somebody who would actually use it a lot more than you. So now we've figured out where we would like to save for our deposit. We also have some strategies that we can use to save money every year. The next step is to increase our income by either asking for a pay rise or potentially switching jobs. When I was saving for my first home, what I realized was that there's only so much that I can cut out of my budget. So the next lever I could pull was trying to increase the amount of income that I could make.
Pull the lever, Crunk.
And I did this by asking for pay rises or potentially switching jobs if I found a better offer. One of the things that I really struggled with early in my career was limiting beliefs. But what I didn't realize was that in every job where I stayed for more than a couple of months or even a couple of years, I was learning valuable skills every single day that made me better at my job and more efficient. And also way more hireable than when I first started at that job. And you have also learned a lot more skills in your job that has either made you more efficient or just better overall at your job, which would have resulted in a lot of benefits to your employer or the company that you're working for. So that's why I really encourage you to ask for a pay rise, because the worst thing that they can do is say no.
What, are you looking for a raise? Get out.
But of course, sometimes companies just aren't in the position to be able to give you the pay rise that you're asking for. And in that case, it may be worth looking around the market to see if you can find a better offer. An important question to ask yourself is, are you paying the loyalty tax? Research shows that new hires are actually paid 7% more than existing employees doing the same job. And employees who switch jobs regularly actually earn 50% more over their lifetimes than employees who tend to stay put in the same company for long periods of time. So something that I would often do in my career in order to earn more money is ask for pay rises or switch jobs if I found a better offer. Now I know switching jobs regularly may not be something that everybody wants to do, but I still encourage you to ask for a pay rise, because the worst thing that they can do is say no. Another way that you can increase your income is by starting a side hustle. What I would personally do is freelancing. I would build different websites for clients, and I would also help businesses with their Facebook and Google ads. There are so many side hustles to choose from, and it all depends on your skills and what you actually like doing. It all adds up at the end of the day. So once you have successfully saved your deposit, the next step is to use a mortgage broker. At first, I was not keen at all on the idea of having a mortgage broker, because I thought, what's the point in paying somebody when I can just apply for mortgages myself? But what I didn't realize is that you don't actually pay for mortgage brokers. The bank actually pays them a commission, so you can get the help and expertise of a mortgage broker with no money out of pocket. Having a mortgage broker to help walk you through the process of buying your first home is incredibly valuable, because applying for home loans can be really stressful and overwhelming, so it's really good to have somebody in your corner. And if you're looking to get the help of a mortgage broker, I have a link in my description below where you can book a complimentary call with a mortgage broker. So once you've found somebody that's going to help you apply for mortgages, the next step is to get a pre-approved mortgage. A pre-approved mortgage basically means that the lender or the bank has agreed to lend you money towards purchasing a property. I do have an unfortunate story to share with you. So one of my friends was buying his first home with his partner, and they didn't get a pre-approved mortgage. So they put an offer down on the place, and it had a window of about 5 days. Unfortunately, their mortgage broker and the bank wasn't able to approve their mortgage in time, so they lost the deposit that they had put down for that property, which was $100,000. And that's why it's really important to get a pre-approved mortgage before you put an offer down on a place. Because if your mortgage doesn't get approved in time, you could potentially lose your deposit. Once you've made an offer in a place, the next step is to get a solicitor to review the contracts. It is so tempting to just skim through property contracts because they're really long and really boring. But if you just skim through these contracts, you could miss out on a lot of important details, which could potentially cost you a lot of money. Solicitors can also help you review the council plans and notify you about any upcoming constructions that could potentially affect the value of the property that you're looking to buy. And that's why it's so important to hire a solicitor who can help you review these contracts, just to make sure that what you're signing is all fine. There was this one time that we made an offer in a place and our solicitor reviewed the contracts. What she found was that in the backyard, there was actually these big drainage pipes. So essentially, you wouldn't be able to build anything on top of the backyard, which would affect the land value and the property value. So that's something that we would have missed had we not had a solicitor review the contracts and also review the council plans. So the next step is optional, but it has saved us quite a bit of money, and that is getting a strata report done. If you're buying an apartment, doing a strata report can basically tell you if the building of the apartment that you're looking to buy is in good condition and if the finances of that building is in a healthy condition as well. In a strata report, they generally review the meeting notes of the attendees of the strata meeting. This can help you double check that there are no really big, expensive maintenance costs that will be upcoming in that apartment block in the future. If you're looking at buying a house, another step is to do a building and pest inspection. This can save you a lot of money down the line. And the final step is to negotiate with the real estate agent. When we were going to property inspections, we would note down any defects in the property that we may have to fix later. So this helped us negotiate and bring down the price a bit. The key with negotiations is to try and meet in the middle. You don't want to make an offer too low that it insults the seller, but you also don't want to make an offer which is too high because you can only really go up from there. Another thing to note is whether or not you're in a buyer's market or a seller's market. If you're in a buyer's market, this may mean that there's more room for your negotiation. So whatever the property price is listed at, you may be able to negotiate down a little bit. However, if you're in a seller's market, this may mean that there's a lot more buyers in the market. So the prices that a seller lists the property for is usually what buyers are prepared to pay. And if you're in a seller's market, this may mean that there's not as much negotiation in the prices, and you may need to make an even more competitive offer in order to get considered. This one takes a bit of practice, but I'm sure you'll get there. The property market is absolutely crazy, and I know what it feels like to have a look at property prices and to feel like you will never get there. But try not to let limiting beliefs stop you from achieving your dreams. And remember, there are plenty of government initiatives which can help you buy your first home. And if you would like to download my free ebook, you can do so in the link below. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you did like it, make sure you give this video a like and subscribe to this channel, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!